All right, well, here we go. We're back finally. Another installment of Explore Builds. We got the 79 series behind us. It has been a little bit between videos, so I thought I'd do a quick update video, let you guys know where we're at with everything. Everyone keeps asking. So here it is, a bit of an update. A couple of little things have been done, and the biggest thing that everyone keeps asking me about is the tray. So I'm gonna run you through the tray, where we're at, and then hopefully what's coming up. Obviously, we got all the exciting gear coming very shortly. So let's get straight into it. All right, so here we go. The latest modification to go on the 79, and by far one of the hardest things I've had to choose when it comes to building this vehicle. Now, if anyone's decided to do a full vehicle build, picking a tray and canopy supplier is very bloody difficult. There is 100 different companies to choose from. Now look, when I was looking, there was a couple of things I wanted. I wanted it to be unique to how I wanted it, so the ability to customize. I wanted it to be an Australian manufacturer, and look, I wanted something that's been out there long enough and has been tested, and I know that the quality level was there. So I actually have known Dave for about 4 years, just having chats at all the different four-wheel drive shows throughout Australia. He's built some of the baddest touring vehicles that are getting around. Boss Aluminium do tray canopies, but they also do full vehicle builds. They're very, very familiar with the J-Max chassis extension. He actually had a big role in designing part of the chassis that is underneath here. So that was reassuring. Once you do go the extended chassis, you do sort of limit your market with who you can choose in the tray and canopy space as well. But look, Boss Aluminium, they've been designing trays and canopies for the last 20 years. They're a family-owned, Australian-made, down in Melbourne, Victoria. I spoke to probably 5 or 6 different guys on Instagram that have been running these trays, not just around town, but proper tourers, guys that have been touring around the country with their tray and canopy setups. Nothing but the highest things said about them, the quality-wise. They've had no issues. So look, there was a couple that I was sort of tossing up between, but Boss Aluminium absolutely took the cake for me at the end. So this is going to be a little bit of a story, but essentially what I was going to do was I was going to color code everything, color coded bar work, color coded tray and canopy, and then Dave was telling me about a new premium tray that was coming out, and that's what we were going to go with. Now, in the interim, I got the car, I needed a tray on just to be able to drive around town, and he goes, look, we've got our new, well, they're about 12 months old, these modular trays. And he goes, I've got one of them that a customer didn't pick up, it's ready to go, we can throw that on in the interim. It was black, obviously I was going to do color coded. So here it is, this is their M4 tray. It went on, and basically the second I picked it up, I fell in love with it. I said, don't worry about your premium tray, I want this one. I'm stoked with the black. I'm going to do all my color coding black now. Completely did a backflip, changed my mind, and look, this is it. This is the M4 tray. So I'll run you through a couple of the M4 features. Basically, M stands for modular, which means you can start out at an M1, which is basically tray, your sides, and the headboard, and you can spec it up from there. So M4 comes with your full one-piece guards, your rear toolboxes. It's got a 70-litre water tank built underneath, and then tucked away down here is a pump. So that's tucked in nicely. The 70-litre water tank is in front of this absolutely massive slide-out drawer. Cool little feature with the drawer. You've got essentially a chopping board or whatever you want to use it for, but it's fully slides around and is removable. So you don't have to worry about it being in the way when you're packing. And then depending on where you want it and to get to things, it's actually cool. I do like that. Now, some other features of the M-Spec tray. Obviously you've got your dual 35s fit across the back, which is important. All your side toolboxes are fully lockable, not central locking, but fully lockable. Central locking is an option. Your diesel fillers on the other side. But that kind of gives you an idea. Full checker plate sides and base, so tough as hell. That'll wear a lot nicer than just having your flat alloy. So this was the M4. It's 2100 long, and I was like, I love it. I did want something just 100mm shorter to be honest, but I seen this, fell in love with it, and I told Dave, don't worry, let's build a canopy. Last week, he brought out his premium tray. And he rang me, he goes, what do you reckon? You still want to keep the one you got, or you want to do the premium tray? And well, of course, I had to have it. It's absolutely epic. It's slightly different to this, so you'll have to wait until it goes on, but essentially, the premium tray, there's absolutely zero wasted space. It's slightly different. A couple of the main features that the reason why I really decided to go with the premium tray is it's a full custom sheet metal headboard with another 90 litres of fresh water in it. That was the biggest draw card. The side boxes are slightly larger in capacity. The rear drawers slightly larger in capacity. It was a hard decision, but like Dave said, this was never meant to be my tray. And it is 100mm shorter, so it'll be 2 meters, which is exactly where I wanted. It is essentially the tray that I designed, that I would have wanted initially, but I fell in love with his M-Spec tray. So there it is, that's the backstory. Went from color-coded silver premium tray to getting this as an interim tray, fell in love with it, and now I've seen his premium, and of course I've fallen in love with the premium tray. So that's basically the long-winded story of what's happened with me trying to pick a tray and canopy, but we're there, we're finally sorted. Dave's building the new one as we speak, so you'll have to stay tuned for that install. Now, there's 2 other things that I've sort of done in the meantime, which I'll run you guys through real quick. Firstly is the Redarc brake controller, Tow Pro Elite. Look, it's an absolute must. We took the 79 towing a 3-ton Lotus van out to Gundawindi for the Gundy 400. You know, brake controller was an absolute must. So I've installed the brake controller already. That was going to go in a little bit later, but I jumped the gun. And the second thing, and this is probably the other major thing that we've done, is I did a full paint protection on the outside of the vehicle. Now, it's not just a coating, it is a full clear PPF wrap from the girls at Slickazz. That was done 2 days ago. I've got a bit of footage, so I'll chuck that in now, and you'll be able to see the full installation process and just how good this clear wrap is. This week, we're doing a little bit of protection, something that isn't super visible on the car, but is an absolute must for all the places I'm gonna go. So we're down here at the moment with Maddie from Slickazz. What's going on?
We're just about to wrap your car.
Perfect. So for everyone that has absolutely no idea what we are, I shouldn't touch it because it's just been washed and cleaned.
I just cleaned the car, Matt.
So why don't we tell everyone what Slickazz is, what's the product that we're about to put on the car?
So it is a paint protection film. So PPF is really designed to be a sacrificial barrier for your paintwork.
Yep.
It's actually going to stop stone chips, and it's going to stop pinstriping, scratches in the works.
Perfect.
Another fantastic thing that which our 4B customers love is its self-healing abilities.
Yep.
So if you do go through the bushes, and you will go through the bushes too tight,
yes,
then of course you can just heat them out. So Aussie Sun usually heats it up enough for the scratches to dissolve.
Yep.
Otherwise you can boil a kettle, get a heat gun and dissolve them out with the heat that way.
Self-healing, sounds a little bit like magic. But look, I'll tell you the reason I am down here is my mate Donnie from Airing Down, he had the Chop 200 that you guys did.
Yep.
So he got the protective film, not coating,
yes,
put
yes,
on his car, and we went up to Yeppoon, 5 Rocks it's called,
yep,
and there's this track where we have to push over to the other side to get down onto this beach. It is narrow, you're basically getting pinstripes most of the way there, especially in his 200 because it's fat.
Yeah.
And look, that thing came out on the other side with not a scratch on, and then we did see a couple of little scratches because it was freshly after he got it done. And throughout the rest of the day, just because it was a bloody hot day, I could see the scratches sort of disappear.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it actually does work. So I thought it was a little bit bullshit. Donnie was carrying on about it, and after seeing it firsthand, to be fair, I was that impressed that I am here. So well done for a start. And look, basically the reason I've come down now is because the 79 is brand new. It does not have a single scratch on it. And look, after following Donnie through that track, the 76 got some bloody good pinstriping.
Yes.
And the 76 is basically, let's just say, well worn in at the moment. So hopefully
nice way.
With this, it'll be nice and protected from the start.
Yes.
So let's run through a couple of, people are going to want to know a bucket load of things. So let's kick it off at the start. Why don't we start with exactly what the product is? Tell me some of the technical information.
Okay, so technically speaking, the film itself is a thermoplastic polyurethane.
Yep.
So pretty much that's plastic that can be heated, which is why it has self-healing abilities. So the top layer of the film, it's 3 layers. The top layer of the film is the self-healing one.
Yep.
So bush, like, you know, just general scratches from going down a track,
yep.
like dry branches, those sorts of things, that's going to be fine on the top coating of the film,
yep.
like the top layer. So as long as you don't scratch through into the second and third layer of the film, it will self-heal.
Yep.
So majority of stuff for your 4Bing, perfectly fine, dissolve it out. However, it's not bulletproof. So if you do like get like a green branch or something that's really stabby, think of like a screwdriver,
yep.
of course that can penetrate through to the film, but it might not get through to your paintwork. Most likely it's just going to damage the film. You can replace that panel.
Yep.
It's going to pop back up to the top of the film and continue only lightly scratching the rest of it.
And that's probably something that people don't really think about, is that they think like, oh, you may be able to scratch the protective coating. And I
Yes.
guess that's the idea, that you scratch
Yeah.
and you destroy the coating and not the actual, or the
Yeah.
film and not the paint.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I just tell people it's a bit of common sense.
Yeah.
If you treat your PPF like you treat your paintwork as far as maintenance and cleaning goes,
Yep.
you're not going to have any issues with the film, like discoloring, going dull, anything like that.
Yep.
So from a maintenance perspective, it's super easy and has a long life span, 10 years.
Yep.
So it just comes down to when you're doing the tracks and things like that, how like deep the scratches are. But at the end of the day, most of the time we see dint damage before we see film damage.
And you're better off peeling one door of
Yeah,
film
exactly
off
right.
and replacing that than having to repaint a whole door.
Yeah.
Now, we can stand here and talk about it forever, and we will talk about it for a little bit longer, but we are going to scratch the shit out of this thing and really show you guys how it works, so stay tuned. But let's run through a little bit more of the questions that everyone's going to ask.
Yes.
So, how long does it take to install?
Yep. So generally, 79 series we'll have in the shop for at least 3 days.
Yep.
If there's a canopy and things like that, 4. And yeah, we will template it. If like, I don't think you're going to keep the snorkel on it, are you? Well, so if you had a new snorkel, we would template around that.
Yep.
And we will digitize that. So those things take a little bit longer if there's any like new Modi stuff on it.
Yep.
So we'll template it for your vehicle, but the rest we already have like templates for the doors and your Rangers and your, you know, whatever 200
Yep.
series. And so we pretty much get the car in, we fully clay the vehicle, we clean it really thoroughly, template anything.
Looking fresh.
Thank you. That was my hard work before you got here. And then we will, then we'll digitize anything we need to and then start installing.
Yep.
So, but it's not a quick process. Like,
No,
especially
3 days. So
Yeah.
this is not a $100 product that you just slap on the side and hope for the best. It's legit.
And the difference really comes down to your installer, because I mean, we're comfortable with these and we've tried lots of different ways, especially the 79 series. They're so complicated with this bonnet because it's like a freaking wedding cake, the amount of like lumps to it. So they were really hard. But the difference between like us installing it and why it takes so long is because we wrap everything, like all your wrapped edges, we'll wrap all of that in. So pretty much our goal is to make it as seamless as possible. We don't want someone being like, oh, what's that on your car? You know, like we want to hide it and only have like small exposed edges where possible. So it's just a really fiddly thing that I don't think you can understand until you've watched us install it and you're like, oh, okay, that bonnet took 2 hours, 3 hours, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, happy days. Now, I was looking at a couple of different things. One thing that kept popping up and people had messaged me when we were running some stories on this is, why not ceramic coating? I don't know the difference really between the two, other than one is like a liquid and this one's a physical film. Why would we go this? What's the difference?
So pretty much a ceramic coating is a liquid. It does cure, so it offers some protection, but the biggest difference between a ceramic and PPF is that a ceramic looks fantastic. It doesn't have any wrapped edges or anything, so it's aesthetically pleasing, but it's not really going to last, and it's certainly not going to stop damage like proper branch scratches or stone chips. So at the end of the day, that is a liquid. So awesome for maintenance, but really not through going through the bush. So why we got into PPF is because we knew that we needed something really, really thick. And this stuff has been, especially Flexi Shield itself, it's been in the US for like 10 years. And it's on all the exotic vehicles, you know, but they normally do all the front ends. But we decided, well, front ends, you don't even have you'll have a bull bar, blah, blah, blah. So why not wrap the bonnets and sides of 4Bs? And that's sort of where that kit came from.
Because you do a lot of trucks. I'm looking at a Western Star.
Yeah, we have a tipper in here right now. So we've been doing PPF for 4 years.
Yep.
And we did start on trucks because that was sort of my background was in the transport industry. So we were putting it on trucks. I know it's good enough for 4Bs because it's tried and tested on trucks, which have way worse of a life over the last 4 years. And the film's working perfectly fine on that. So it's just a slightly different application, but you know, definitely does its job for protecting physical damage. And I think that is the difference. It's a sacrificial barrier. At the end of the day, the film is a sacrificial barrier to protect your paintwork.
I guess with the coating, you can't peel it off when it's damaged and throw a fresh one on. And the whole idea, like we were saying earlier, is that if you damage it, you peel it off, you can replace that section of the panel, and your paint underneath stays unreal, which is good for resale. It means your car doesn't look like a bucket of shit after a few years banging through the bush. Pinstriping with full driving is essentially inevitable. With me, it's definite, and there will be scratches, and I will probably have to come in and get some panels replaced, which will be cool because I know I'll put this thing where I shouldn't. And this one's longer than the 76, which scares me. But all right, if there's any other questions that we've missed, we might run through a few more things as we're going. Make sure you put it in the comments, and Maddie will jump on our YouTube and answer all of them. But let's start doing a little bit of install, and the main thing that all you guys will want to see is let's scratch some shit. So let's get stuck in.
Let's do it.
All right, so Maddie has told me I'll be able to take a wire brush to the side of my car by the time this is done, which I'm a little bit scared to do. So I wanted to see it firsthand. Let's scratch something that's not my car to start with. How does that sound?
Yes, let's go for it. So the bottom half has PPF on it, and our top half doesn't have anything on it. So we'll give a wire brush and have a look how it goes. We've got the black side and the white side so we can see the difference.
Yep. All right, now I reckon she's being a little bit delicate. Can I overturn?
Yeah.
So I want to be a little bit rougher. I would not want that to be my paint. That is absolutely taking the top right off the paint completely. And then I can still see the light scratching on the PPF. Now, a little bit of heat gun, which throughout the day should replicate the sun, or worst case, if they're really scratched, I can actually use the heat gun on the car, is that right?
Yes, or a hairdryer.
Or a hairdryer. Show us the magic. Well, there we go, happy days. You can see clear as day that all the light scratching that was on the PPF is 100% gone. Obviously the scratching on the paint is, well, it's shot, to be honest. I'd love to get a bit of a buff out and see how much we can clean this up, but obviously over time, as you keep doing your scratching, your paintwork's gonna get destroyed. That has not done anything at all to the PPF. Why don't we scratch it a bit harder? Let's see. I want to see how far we can go till we wreck the film.
With a screwdriver?
Yeah, let's go a screwdriver. All right, you're up. You're a little bit more delicate than me to start with, so go nuts. This I am interested to see. Can we take a heat gun to that?
Sure can.
All right, so as the heat's applied, you can see some of the lighter scratching there is starting to go away. Obviously, some of the biggest scratching is still there, which you can see, but the idea is that we've scratched the protective coating and not the paint, because that is absolutely shot. That's gone back down to bare metal with the screwdriver. So now if we peel this off, we should be able to see that these major scratches through here, and before we peel it off, I might be a little bit rougher just because I want to see the difference. So I might start light and work my way through. So I am well and truly actually ripping it there, so let's see the difference as we peel it off. I want to see how bad the damage is. All right, so we're peeling it off now. As you can see, what looks like scratching, but if you give that a clean, that's actually the adhesive. And with a light little bit of polish. But as you can see, look, I got real carried away with the screwdriver because I did want to see the difference between the light scratching. You can see here the light scratching, you can't see anything at all. As I got harder and harder and harder, you can see some small scratching, but as you can see on this side, you've got massive dents and scratches that are just not coming out of the paint. And then with a light buff, I reckon you get 90% of that out as well. So
it's
remember,
almost like initially it does hit through, but
yep.
once you've gone past that tree, it's just popped it back out.
Yeah. So it's not bulletproof, it's not magic. You can still scratch your car, but the difference, it's chalk and cheese. It's designed to wreck this instead of wrecking your paintwork. That's completely shot. You cannot fix that. You would have to get a new paint job. Whereas this here, a light polish, and it would be 100% back to factory. And that's me going ham with a screwdriver. Obviously, all the lighter stuff and the wire brush, which is probably more like your your tree branches and your bush pinstriping. So stoked, happy days. How good's that? All right, well, it is looking absolutely shit hot. You probably can't even tell it's on. Sammy's just in the background doing a final little wipe over and clean. I can't wait to get out and scratch this thing. Now look, there's one question that keeps coming through is price. Obviously everyone wants to know. So where do we start at for the top of the range PPF?
So for Flexi Shield to be installed by us here at Slickazz,
yep.
The prices start at $2,600. Really depends on the coverage, the size of the vehicle, if you have a canopy, a tub, the works.
For example, this car here, bonnet and sides and back,
is $2,650.
$2,650.
I don't know about your canopy. That's
single cab, you're going to be even cheaper again. $2,650 for the dual cab. Now, if you've just shit your pants and you're going $2,600, now look, this is the top of the line, and you do have a cheaper option because obviously this one's about 3 days worth of install. You've got to be have you got dealers all around?
We do actually have a recommended dealer network that can install Flexi Shield.
Yep.
So if you're living in Sydney or Melbourne, hit us up. We'll put you in contact with someone who knows how to install on the
yep.
4Bs with Flexi Shield film.
But if you want something a little bit cheaper, you've got a DIY kit, which is the bush wraps.
Yeah, so we have just launched bush wraps. Those kits are $380 or $580, depending if you have a tub on your ute or
$380 or
$380
yes.
or $580. So jump online, you can buy those online. They are DIY kits.
Yep. What are the couple of quick differences?
So the really big difference is, one, you're not paying us to install it,
yep.
but the film itself is a completely different film. So we have had this film made,
yep.
and it is a temporary film. So it comes with a 1-year warranty,
yep.
can be left on for up to 2 years. So, and with those DIY kits, you will get full video instructions. I will literally show you how to install each panel specific to each model. So
happy days.
good to go.
Well, it's inevitable that this thing's going to get scratched. This car will actually be doing 12 months around Australia next year. At this stage, COVID pending. So we'll probably do a bit of a video in 6 months' time. We'll come back and we'll see how it looks. But thank you very much. The girls absolutely killed it. Let's go use it. Let's go scratch it.
Woohoo!
All right, well, there we go. That was all the Slickazz gear done and dusted. Now, look, it's time to get rid of the plastic piece of shit on the front. It's time to get all the touring gear in. We're down here this morning at ARB Nunda, and it's about to get bloody exciting. The mall crawler is finally going to be turned into a little bit of a tourer. Now, that will be in the next video, so make sure you subscribe to stay up to date. If you did enjoy this video, chuck us a like. I'm going to get in there. I can't wait to see all the new goodies. See you next time on Explore Builds.